Alrighty, we're talking about the best drones for 2022. So we're going to jump right into it. Let me just make my screen a little bigger here. Okay, so obviously everyone's pumped up about the Mavic 3, but that may not be the best drone for you. So let's talk about it. So an overview for today's video is that I'm going to show you the best drones for 2022 in 5 different categories. So these are the categories I made up, which are Hobbyist, Richie Rich, Digging for Dinero, sub 250 gram, under 0.55 pounds, and the Pro category. Alright, so I thought that would be fun to do. And this pretty much covers most people. I'd say this is it. You know, this is 95% of people right here. Alright, so Hobbyist. So we're going to get into Hobbyist right now. And my top 3 picks, what I'll do for each category is I'm going to give you my top 3 picks. Okay. And my top 3 picks for the Hobbyist category are the DJI Air 2S, the Autel Evo Lite Plus, which is available for pre-order right now, and at the time of this recording anyway, and the DJI Mavic Air 2. Okay, so why did I pick those? Well, a lot of people may be saying, hey, why didn't you, the Phantom 4 Pro or the Mavic 2 Pro is not that expensive. Why didn't you pick those? Well, I think it's always best to have the latest technology, because the newest app is the DJI Fly app, whereas the DJI Go 4 app is a little outdated. Not outdated, it's a really good app actually. But it's just, that's not where the technology is going. So DJI is investing all its resources and energy and technology into the newer drones and the newer app. So I would say, if you're going to buy and you're going to start out, you're going to probably save a little more money buying the Air 2S and rather than Mavic 2 Pro, and you have that new technology. So the Mavic Air 2 also has that newer technology. Now, the Autel Evo Lite Plus is a great drone, 1-inch drone, 1-inch sensor, has great specs, 20 megapixel photos. But the thing about the Evo Lite Plus is that it's much more expensive than the Air 2S, at least at the time of this recording. So I would say, these two are very similar. So you might as well go with the Air 2S because you're in the DJI ecosystem, which you could always upgrade at a later point to something like the Mavic 3. So I think learning the DJI drone first is always your best option. Also, I think DJI is better colored than Autel, but we'll have to see how this light plays out. Okay, so let's talk about the best drone in this category, the Air 2S. Shoots up to 5.4K, up to 30 frames per second. Okay, that 5.4K, so it's a little slightly cropped in. The 4K shoots up to 60 frames per second, or I should say the 4K, the 4K 60 frames per second is slightly cropped in, whereas the 5.4K is a little wider. I like both of them. I shoot both of them. I usually go with the 4K 60 frames per second because I can slow that down in post-production, and it's still plenty good for me. Now, it's got a 1-inch sensor. However, the image quality is not going to be as good as the Mavic 2 Pro or the Mavic 3. But it does shoot, but for this price and the fact that it has 12.6 stops of dynamic range, you also have the 5.4K ability and the 4K 60 frames per second, which the Mavic 2 Pro doesn't. And it has a 1-inch sensor in a very tiny package. It's very light, very small, and it flies up to 7.5 mile range. So all those factors make it a great choice. Now, Phantom 4 Pro is discontinued and still a great drone, but it's big and it's older, so I would rather go this. You save a lot of money and you get all of this. Okay, so let's move on. Richie Rich. All right, Richie Rich. So this is for the person who's got all the money in the world. Money's no object. What drone should you get? Well, I would probably get the DJI Matrice 300, which I call the Swiss Army knife of drones, because it kind of does everything really well. And you can put up to 3 payloads on it, as you can see in this image right here. and it does things like mapping. You can put on thermal cameras. You can put on, you can see here, there's this camera that has, there's a newer camera where you can put 4 cameras on at once. It's 4 cameras in one, so you can zoom. You got a zoom camera, you got a normal great camera, then you got a thermal camera. So for inspections, for mapping, this drone is really a great drone. Also just for normal shooting, and it can handle winds up to 50 miles per hour, and it can fly, or I should say 40, but 50 you can still probably fly it. But handle winds up to 40 miles per hour and get smooth footage. And it also can fly in semi-rainy condition. I wouldn't say downpour, but if it's raining, you can still fly it. Now the DJI Inspire 2 is my second choice, and the DJI Mavic 3 Cine is my third choice. Okay, so Inspire 2 still get a little better image quality than the Mavic 3 Cine, even though Cine probably has better features. The overall image quality of the Inspire 2, because you can use the X7, is going to be a little better, and let me talk about that in a sec. So money's no object. While the Matrice is great, okay, I would still probably get the Inspire 2 because it's more geared for cinematographers, filmmakers, and I assume that's most people out there. Whereas if you want to do mapping or inspections, then I'd probably get the Matrice 300. Whereas if I want to do filmmaking, I'll go the Inspire 2 because it can fly up to 65 miles per hour. You can use the X7 camera, which is a Super 35 sensor, so it's equivalent of a 1.5 crop. So it comes with those 4 prime lenses. The 4 prime lenses, the DJI lenses that it comes with, are the 16, the 24, the 35, and the 50, which on the crop factor is equivalent to about 24, 35, 50, and about 75 or 80. So you get a good range from wide angle to normal to portrait mode. So all those are great, great choices right there. It can fly in winds up to about 40 miles per hour, maybe even a little faster than that. And of course it has ProRes and Cine DNG. So the ProRes you can shoot 5.2K, and the Cine DNG can shoot up to 6K in RAW. Okay, and obviously that's going to be super expensive, a lot more expensive than the Mavic 3 Cine, but you're Richie Rich, so that's no big deal for you. All right, so on to the next one, and links are below for all these drones. So after done with this video, if you want to check them out, go for it. All right, digging for dinero. So you don't have much money, you're on a budget, or you just, you don't want to spend a lot of money on a drone. You just want to get into it, have fun, or you know someone, you want to give it to a gift, you don't want to spend a fortune. You could go with I would go with the DJI Mini 2 or the DJI Mini. Okay, both those drones are also under 249 grams, but the main reason I go for the Mini 2 is because it can fly well in wind and it has better resolution than the Mini. The Mini can't really handle wind that well. You might get a flyaway, and the Mini 2 can handle winds up to 19 to 24 miles per hour, so that's pretty good for a 249 gram drone, a 0.54 pound drone. And it shoots 4K up to 30 frames per second, which is great for a drone this size. You don't have to register it if you don't put any filters and like cage on it. If you just fly it as it is, it's under 250 grams, so you don't have to register it as well, at least here in the United States. It flies up to 6.2 miles, so it's got great range. And it flies 36 miles per hour and for up to 31 minutes. So all that, I mean, in that size, I believe it's now under $500. I think it's a great deal. Personally, if I had to buy the 3 drones I would probably buy right now, well, that would be one of them, certainly. And I'll get on to the other ones that I'd buy. Now, the sub 250 gram category, under 0.55 pounds, which you don't have to register, as I said before, I would go with the Autel Evo Nano Plus, then the Autel Evo Nano. Now, I know these drones are just released, so they if you're watching this video later, they're probably already out, but as of this recording, they're just being released, and these drones the specs are pretty crazy for what you get in a nano drone. For a drone that you don't have to register, under 250 grams, so light. The Nano Plus, I mean, you have a big sensor on it. And you also, as well as the Nano is a 1/2 inch sensor. This one, the Nano Plus, is an even bigger sensor, which I'll talk about. Whereas the DJI Mini 2 has a 1/2.3 inch sensor, which is a little smaller. So the image quality will gradually get better as you go up this list, or better front to 1 to 3 gets the best to the worst. So that's why the Nano Plus has great image quality and also shoots, let's get into it. All right. It shoots 4K HDR video up to 30 frames at 100 megabits per second. Now the Mini 2 also shoots 100 megabits per second, but this is 4K HDR, which will give you a little more dynamic range. Okay. And it also shoots 50 megapixels for photos on a 1.9 f1.9 aperture. So that's incredible. So you're going to get a lot of light in there. So that'll be good in low light with HDR for video, and then the 1.9 lens for photography. Now 50 megapixels usually isn't very good in photography. The fewer megapixels, the better in low light, I should say. The 50 megapixels in daylight is great, but in low light it's normally not good. However, we have the f1.9 lens, which lets in a lot of light, and you have the shutter speed all the way from 1/8,000th of a second to 8 seconds. So with those factors, you're gonna get amazing images, and I would say even in low light. Okay, I normally wouldn't shoot photos past about 4 seconds. I find they get a little blurry on drones, but you can test that out. Now it flies up to 7.4 mile range, and which is incredible, and winds up to 19 to 24 miles per hour, just like the Mini 2, and it flies up to 33 miles per hour and up to 30 minutes. Now the Mini 2 flies up to 31 minutes, but we're splitting hairs here. It's basically the same, but the big thing is it's got that big sensor, nice megapixels, nice lens, good shutter speed, great video. I mean, yeah, all these stats is incredible for a nano drone. It's a little more expensive, so if you're on a budget, go with the Mini 2. But between the Nano and the Nano Plus, I would just get the Nano Plus. It's 10 more megapixels, and it's also a bigger sensor. So that's my thoughts on that. And you don't have to register it, and it comes in all these cool colors, which is probably kind of cool. Obviously, my channel is red, so I probably get the red one. And when that comes out, I probably will get it. And so if you haven't done so, please subscribe to get more videos about that. And we're moving on to the Pro category. So for the Pro category, really, the Mavic 3 Cine is the way to go. Okay, you could go with the Inspire 2. All right, it's kind of a debate, but the Inspire 2 to me, it's just so big. Also, the flight time's not that great. Realistically, I know it says like 23 to 27 minutes, but realistically, you're only going to get about 20 minutes of flight time. Whereas the Mavic 3 Cine, you're going to get almost double the flight time. Okay, so the flight time, that's a huge factor, and it's portable, and it shoots ProRes, the Cine version. Okay, now the Mavic 3 normal, it doesn't shoot ProRes, but you still get D-Log and still get great features. So that would be my order right there. Okay, and this is me on my first shoot with it. Just got it a couple days ago, the Mavic 3 Cine, so I'm super pumped up about it. And I have a bunch of videos I'm going to come out with in the next couple weeks. So if you want to check those out, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification for that. And so it's portable and shoots ProRes. All right, now it's bigger than the Mavic 2 Pro, but it's still very portable. The combo comes with a really nice bag that I liked. I was very impressed with that. And it comes with filters as well, the combo. So you got all your ND filters. So basically everything you need. And with three batteries, I ordered some extra batteries for a trip I'm going to take. But just with 3 batteries alone, that's plenty of flight time. You get over an hour and a half of flight time, more like an hour and 45 minutes of flight time, which is great. Shoots with 3 batteries. Shoots 5.1K up to 50 frames per second, and it wasn't exactly the normal like the 4K resolution we're used to, the 16:9 diameter. It's 5120 by 2700. So if you want to put that into Photoshop or Premiere Pro or wherever you go, you can check out those dimensions. But that was the dimensions of the image after I was flying with it, which is a little different. It's a little more, I would say, on the cinematic side, but also gives you a little more leniency on the sides. So on the width on the left and the right side gives you more leniency. So I like that. At 50 frames per second, you can slow it down in post-production. Now it's got optical and digital zoom up to 28 times. I find realistically the optical zoom was really the only thing I use, because the digital zoom degrades the image. And so anywhere past 7 times zoom to me was not usable on a professional level. So and it also kind of goes into the second camera for that, whereas the first camera is used for the optical zoom. So personally, I would use all the way from 1 time to 4 times zoom, because you can slowly zoom in and zoom out, and that's what I'd probably use it for. So between 1 to 4 was my sweet spot, but that's for another video. And it shoots up and it flies up to 46 minutes of flight time, though realistically you're going to probably get like mid-30s. Okay, depends on the wind and stuff. I probably get about 35 minutes of flight time. I didn't really keep track of that, but just guessing off a feel from flying for so long, I would say anywhere from 33 to 37 minutes I was getting. And that was with wind, with some wind, but just on a normal day. And that's it. That's my that's my best drones for 2022. Looking forward to the new year. So speaking of a new year, if you want to step up your drone skills after you choose one of these drones, I made a free training video, an hour-long video where I show you my 10 secrets for cinematic drone shots, and I also show you in that video the 5 steps to quit your 9-to-5 and start your own business. So I include the 5 steps that I took to go full-time as a drone pilot. So if you're interested, that's a free video. All you have to do is click on the link below and you'll see this thumbnail right here. All you have to do is click on it and watch it. That's it. Free for you guys. Appreciate you guys watching. Hope you have a great day, and that's it. I'm Brick Aramella, the Drone Pilot Pro. Remember, fly like a pro.